Oh man, oh man. I need to share my perspective on the drama that's been circulating Tectone and Soul and his brother, and then some other guy named Flip. I'll be honest, I actually despise sticking my nose in business that isn't mine, but I feel there's a bit of an obligation for me to do this, and I want to explain that obligation and the thought process behind it real quick. Y'all know I had a drama with another creator. I don't mention his name because I don't want to keep, bringing that back into especially we're on good terms as far as I'm concerned and he's concerned, at least the last time we spoke. But there was a drama with me and another creator. It's been hashed, it's been reconciled, we're good to go. But at the point in time, a narrative was being formulated amongst the community, and Tectone weighed in on it with a fairly objective take that wasn't subjective in any way, shape, or form. I want you to keep in mind, me and Tectone, we're not friends at this time. We did reconcile some little misunderstanding that we had, but I wouldn't necessarily consider us friends at the time. I shit you not. So when he weighed in on this and gave his own objective take, this allowed the overall narrative of the drama to be more objective than subjective. And this is why it's important to get an external source or person to weigh in on dramas. Because what happens is if you don't get these external sources and people who can be objective on things, then you get the dumb shits with the subjective and emotional takes as the majority weighing in on a drama, which paints the overall narrative as a subjective and uninformed and uneducated narrative. And this is a bad thing. This is also a problem that occurs in real life with politics and all kinds of stuff. So essentially, the worst thing that can happen to a scenario surrounding drama is to have a bunch of dumb fucks painting the narrative. That's essentially what I'm trying to get at. And so I feel, first of all, I owe him a bone, not to just take his side like, oh, I have your back no matter what, even if you're being a piece of shit, but I owe him at the bare minimum an objective take on this entire scenario. Because the fact of the matter is, Tectone is in fact low hanging fruit. Now, if you're somebody who just like, you've never heard that expression before, what it essentially means is he already has a bunch of people who don't like him for takes he made in a community, which means whenever he gets in any kind of drama, the subjective narrative goes up way higher than the objective narrative because he already has people who are waiting for him to be in any kind of misunderstanding. So this is why it's important to have objective takes on a scenario. And allow me to be specific on this. The Genshin community, a huge bulk of them have mental illness, and their takes on whether they like you or not are literally attached to whether you said their character was good or not, whether you said Hu Tao was annoying or the perfect princess of all time. These people, I don't know what reality they grew up in. I don't know if the pandemic was a part of it, if they just never ever step outside and have any type of social interaction, if they don't have any experience with life, they just haven't lived enough life, whatever the case may be. I will not let those people decide whether somebody is a good or bad person. And then vice versa, I also want to allow creators to paint somebody as a villain or an evil human being based off of something that ain't even that deep. So this is why I'm weighing in, guys, okay? And that was important to explain to you before we start going in on this. Now, unfortunately, usually I love to provide full-blown context, but unfortunately, I just ain't got the damn time. I looked into this and it's like 6 hours worth of stuff. So I ain't got that time, guys. Running two businesses, the YouTube channel, the personal trading business. I got a daughter, I got a girl, I got a life, man. I ain't got time to be looking at 6 hours worth of stuff, but I did look into a lot of it. And I just want to go over some talking points and overall summarize this whole ordeal up. And let's start off with like one of the core components of this drama. Tectone made some takes on Genshin Impact years ago, right? These two individuals made videos slandering and basically discrediting him as a creator for the community. And one of them made a video during a time of Tectone's darkest moments in his life. He was in severe debt and he had to pay that debt back. He was also getting shit from all angles in the Genshin Impact community. Now, whether it was deserved or not, some of it probably was, most of it probably wasn't, if I had to give my honest opinion. But the fact of the matter is, slandering and discrediting another creator, I'd never respect this shit. In context is pretty crucial, right? Because if you're slandering and discrediting another creator because they're being a scumbag, okay, cool, fair game. But if you're slandering, discrediting somebody over a take on a character in a video game that doesn't apply to anybody's life, it doesn't affect their life in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't even affect anything. In fact, if you say Bennett sucks at E6 and I say Bennett is good at E6, this is not worth turmoil. This is not worth you making a video saying screw that guy, he said Bennett E6 was good. As an adult, you can disagree with somebody by just giving your own take. There's not a single take out there that somebody's not going to disagree with, right? What people don't understand as content creators, you do not have to get on the internet and straight up call somebody else out in order to prove your point. Just share your own point, and if it's intelligently informed, people will also give their input without you shitting on somebody else. This is immature. This is what high schoolers, middle schoolers, and freaking preschoolers do. Okay, so this is already a negative for the other two individuals because you made bad videos discrediting the livelihood, which is directly attached to his meal ticket and pay. You know what I mean? Like, he has to pay his bills with the career that he's chose. So whenever you do something like this, you're already in the negative. All right, and more importantly, you've enabled my guy to respond back in full, and you cannot sit there and turn into a little pussy if somebody responds back in full for you starting something. Now, I remember that was an argument that Soul had made to Tectone, saying he responded to a video that was made over a year ago. Don't you think that's kind of ridiculous? That was his argument made to Tectone. Here's my take on this. YouTube videos are permanently up on YouTube, and if they hit the algorithm, they can get viewed. You can see a video that was made 7 years ago, pop on your feed again and click on it, right? So if there's a video up slandering me, even if it's a year ago, people can still watch it, and if it's misrepresenting me, they can take a narrative and run with it. Whereas in real life, if you got into a fender bender or a fight with somebody, hey man, remember that time you slapped me upside the head and then I tackled the hell out of you? Yeah, I'm still mad about that. Even though it happened 2 years ago, I'm still mad about that. In that scenario, yes, you can be like, yeah, bro, you wildin'. That is out of pocket. But it's not the same scenario and can't be applied to a YouTube video that still is up on YouTube for people to watch. That enables them to refunnel and cycle the misrepresentation of a content creator and also discrediting them as somebody who should be reputable in the community. So that's a terrible argument. It's absolutely okay for Tectone to respond to somebody who was shitting on him. And that's what's been happening. So he addressed that, got into some argument with some kid named Flip. Dude got steamrolled in the debate. It just happened, right? He gave him a safe word, which most people, you don't need a safe word in debate, especially as adults. That was actually a courtesy act given to him by Tectone. That's just the truth. Now the kid came in there thinking he was going to make some good arguments, made some horrible arguments, got steamrolled. It is what it is. They hashed that shit out and they reconciled and they were cool. Keep in mind, guys, I told you, I'm trying to catch all up to speed on 6 hours of content. So it's not as easy as it sounds. I'm doing it hopefully as best as I possibly can. So then what happens is this Soul character ends up putting on a cape and takes it upon himself to try and defend this other guy from getting steamrolled by Tectone in a debate that he himself was okay for. And even he got steamrolled in the debate as well. Which, by the way, I thought this was one of the funniest things I watched offline by myself. It was truly entertaining. And the reason was because the Soul guy was bro was just unhinged. He literally set some rules up and said, do not interrupt me. We're going to be adults about this and we're going to be civilized. Make sure my volume's accurate. Basically, he was setting all these things up and it led you to believe he was a very mature individual. But then when they got into the debate, he was the one, ironically, breaking his own rules. And then at the end of the debate, when Tectone said, you've been interrupting me a lot, the guy said, rules are made to be broken. Excuse my laughter, but this is truly some comical shit, guys. Bro said, don't interrupt me, interrupted him a bunch of times. And when he told him, we tried to hold him accountable for it, he said, fuck that accountability. So I find that very humorous, man. But this wasn't the only thing. When you're doing a debate, guys, it's like Yu-Gi-Oh! You're trying to ask the other person you're debating certain questions to lead them into traps, right? You set up traps and you expect them to activate the traps. He was doing a horrible job, or his traps just weren't working. Like Tectone was just stumping on the traps. That's what I got. And again, this is me being objective. He was just stumping on the traps. And then when the traps were not activating, the guy would get mad and say, let's just move on. Which when you say let's just move on, you're also giving in on the debate, right? Also, we have to address the famous quote, former miner, because that's probably one of the highlights of this entire shindig. Flip, I guess at one point in time was 17 years old when he made videos about Tectone, and now he's 18. And Soul thought it would be a great argument to tell Tectone that he's a criminal and a villain for arguing with a former miner. Guys, I gotta be honest, and y'all let me know down below in the comment section, please. What's worse, former miner or Megapint? I'm gonna say Megapint is still worse because it came out of a lawyer's mouth who was hired by a Hollywood celebrity, which would imply that the lawyer has the highest degree of knowledge pertaining to debate. But I still feel like former miner might be a hard, it's close, a close call. Y'all let me know down below. That's pretty much the whole, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this. That's pretty much how the whole entire debate happened until the guy ended up rage quitting and saying goodbye Tectone, right? So that's what happened there. When things get out of control is when the guy gets on the internet and decides to defend Tectone against his own brother. The Soul guy didn't like this, and he pretty much did he committed some acts of violence in their household. Not saying he hit the guy physically, but it's possible that he threw something and broke some shit or whatever the case. Now, this is where I want to give my perspective on this, because right now in real time, Tectone has said this is disgusting behavior. And then even Asman, I was watching his stream earlier as he was reacting to it. He says the guy needs to be put into a mental asylum. And now probably, because here's the crazy thing, all the things you see on the internet, it's tenfold behind like closed doors. What I mean by this is if he's getting that shit publicly, he's getting tenfold behind closed doors from people who just run with narratives. I want to be very clear here. Tectone and Asmongold, it ain't that deep. It's not that deep. It's not the most disgusting thing you've seen on the internet. Asman, he does not need to be put in no goddamn mental asylum. And keep in mind, I respect Asman. I fucks with him. But bro, I believe bro's a only child, right? As far as I'm concerned, I think he's the only child. And again, this is where things get sticky because now I'm disagreeing with people that I actually fuck with. But I need to remain objective. The reason I say they're out of pocket is because these are fucking brothers. I grew up with brothers. A lot of you have grown up with brothers. You tell me if you truly think hearing some shit, breaking, over a disagreement between brothers is actually warranting getting put in a mental asylum or the most disgusting behavior possible. It's not. I'm sorry, but that's the God-given truth. I'm glad my life wasn't recorded with my brothers growing up, because if it was, dear God, y'all would think I need to be put in jail. And I'm the baby of the family. Me and my brothers would fight over fucking red and blue cereal bowls, right? Oh, you ate out of my cereal bowl? Slap. Oh, motherfucker, you got me messed up, nigga. We about to squab. That was like our life growing up. That was brothers in essence. Now, there were some brothers out there in households who didn't fight. That's the God's honest truth. And to them, I commend them. But don't think for 1 second that brothers fighting is worth you saying some guy is like a villain and he's evil and he needs to be put into jail and all. Bro, relax. It ain't that fucking deep, my guy. Let me tell you, brothers fight all the time. It's a very normal thing. The right answer to this is brother is immature as shit as an adult and he needs to do better. He needs to learn from this. This shit ain't that deep. You don't go in there and fight. But at the end of the day, what I assess this as is Soul is somebody who's simply immature as shit, who needs to grow the fuck up and understand that it's okay for people to disagree with you. And also you need to realize that Genshin Impact meta, nobody gives a fuck about that. The game is easy as shit. Here's the difficulty threshold of the hardest content in the game. And here's what the strength levels of 99% of the community have in the game. Maybe even up here, whether you be free to play or fucking a whale or a budget or a dolphin, whatever the case may be. The game's difficulty level is down here, bro, okay? You swim in water, you pick up mint, you do the goddamn spiral abyss. Tectone did it with his eyes closed. Okay, he's a whale. Well, I did it with a goddamn Shinyan and the girl who rolls around. It ain't that deep. You're being incredibly fucking immature. Tectone did not deserve the slander and misreputation and misrepresentation of his name as a content creator. He's an entertainer, a damn good one at that, and a great fucking guy off the screen. If you don't agree with that, carry on with your fucking life. Make content without trying to shit on other people. Okay, that's their meal ticket, brother. It's not okay. Now, if they're on the internet saying some very like unhinged shit that's pertaining to real life and they're being racist or whatever the case may be, fine. That is the perfect time for people to react to another man's content. But if it's just like over, semantics of whether a character is good or not, bro, you got to calm the fuck down. All right, listen, you and your brother will be fine from this. It ain't all right. You guys were crying on the internet and stuff like that. This is where I don't have the sympathy. Because, it's a grown ass man, bro. Like, y'all's problems are first fucking world problems. This is where y'all lose me here. This ain't that damn deep. It ain't that serious, bro. Get outside, go touch grass, go live some life, and you'll come back to it. I always say this. You'll come back to this and realize, damn, bro, I was tripping. Okay. Now, at the end of the day, do I think that Tectone was wrong in any way, shape, or form in how he went about any of this stuff? I literally view it as Soul poked a bear. And the bear was actually ignoring it, but he continued to poke, and then the bear ran him the fuck over. And then he's like all crying about it. That's generally how I cry about it. I mean, that's generally how I feel about it. Yeah. That's genuinely how I feel about this situation. I think he kind of deserved everything that's pretty much happened with him in Tectone. He doesn't deserve all the backlash that's happening on the internet, because the internet always blows things way even further out of proportion. But I don't fault Tectone for being mad as shit, because it doesn't feel good getting slandered by another creator in the community with reputable and renowned credibility. And he's trying to get you to look like an idiot. That shit is not okay. And don't be out here like, oh, poor me, after you just sat there and tried to poke the bear, man. It's not okay. The only thing I will say with Tech is, yeah, he overreacted, but he was pissed. He has a God-given right. He's human. We're all human. I'm flawed too. Hell, we have a God-given right to lose our shit sometimes. Just like in a video game when you take a little damage, bloop, 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 bloop. Bloop, 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 ding. Right? Everybody has that meter, and when that meter gets hit, you meet a different side of them. And then when you meet that different side of them, all of a sudden it's you trying to play peace, trying to put up the peace sign and a white flag. Hey, man, learn from this and understand that there are repercussions to your actions, and don't expect to say some shit about somebody else and expect them to sit there and take it lying down. That's my honest thoughts on this situation. I hope I gave it a fair shake as I possibly could. But at the end of the day, I did want to put my 2 cents on it so that people can understand from a more rational side of things how this situation unfolded. Thanks for watching, and catch you on the flip side.